Three things are happening inside Tesla right now that sound unrelated on the surface. A chip factory bigger than Tesla's own car plants, a car assembly line that abandons a century of automotive convention, and a casting machine so large it can barely be described in normal industrial terms. They're not actually separate stories. All three exist because of one vehicle Tesla is trying to build as cheaply and as fast as any car in history. And understanding how they connect explains more about Tesla's actual strategy than any single announcement does on its own. Start with the chip problem, because it's the one holding everything else back. Musk has said Optimus and CyberCab are meant to become Tesla's biggest products ever, eventually more common than smartphones, but both are currently bottlenecked by the same thing: AI chip supply. To solve that, Tesla is reportedly prepared to spend $122 billion on Terafab, a proposed 100 million square foot fabrication complex in Grimes County, Texas, roughly 10 times the footprint of Gigafactory, Texas. Musk has framed the target as production capacity approaching 50 times the world's current semiconductor output, aiming to eventually exceed TSMC, Intel, or any other chipmaker. An extraordinary claim worth treating as a stated goal for a facility that's only filed construction permits so far, not a confirmed outcome. What makes the design different isn't just scale. Logic chips, high-bandwidth memory, and advanced packaging are meant to move through one fully integrated site instead of shipping between countries for separate stages, which is how most chip manufacturing works today. There's real infrastructure behind the ambition, not just a number. SpaceX has already paid Grimes County $10 million ahead of schedule under Terafab's tax agreement, part of a deal trading a full property tax abatement for $20 million in annual payments over 35 years. Intel joined the project in April, and Tesla brought in a 17-year Intel manufacturing veteran who previously ran Intel's 18A process operations as Terafab's first named director. A hire signaling Tesla is importing real fab discipline rather than assuming its car manufacturing instincts transferred directly to 2-nanometer chip production. The roadmap splits into two chip families: AI5, ramping in 2026 with full production targeted for 2027, and followed by AI6 and AI7, aimed at self-driving and robotics. And a separate D3 lineup built for Starlink and space applications, engineered for radiation and vacuum conditions no Earth-based chip has to survive. Musk's stated target is starting around 100,000 wafers a month and eventually scaling toward 1 million, a level that, if reached, would put Terafab near roughly 70% of TSMC's current output. None of that compute matters, though, if Tesla can't actually build the vehicle it's meant to power at low enough cost. That's where CyberCab's production line comes in, and it's arguably the more radical bet of the two. Tesla is very good at building expensive cars, and has almost never cracked anything under $35,000. Simply swapping machines on the existing Model 3 line wouldn't have moved the cost needle much, even with CyberCab's far simpler parts count. So instead of sending the vehicle through hundreds of sequential stations, the way cars have been built for over a century, Tesla is using what it calls the unboxed process, building large sections of the car, front, rear, doors, floor, battery pack, interior, on separate, parallel branches simultaneously, then bringing them together at a central integration point once each module is finished. Panels and modules stay open and accessible far longer than in traditional assembly, letting robots reach components from multiple directions, letting seats go in before the upper body closes, and keeping exterior panels away from the line until late to reduce scratch risk during the steps that follow. The trade-off is that this is dramatically harder to actually execute than it sounds. Building each module in isolation isn't the hard part. Getting every module to the integration point at the exact right moment in the exact right position with tolerances measured in fractions of a millimeter is. Tesla introduced the unboxed concept back in 2023 and still only reached roughly 70% completion on the CyberCab line by 2026, after more than 3 years spent calculating the precise speeds and tolerances the system needs to run reliably. It stopped being purely a car manufacturing problem and become a synchronization problem involving thousands of robots, sensors, and transport systems, all operating on the timing of a single mechanical clock, which is a real part of why CyberCab production has ramped more slowly than many expected, not evidence that the concept isn't working. CyberCab's own design leans directly into that approach. 2 seats simplify the cabin. No steering wheel or pedals eliminates a large share of the mechanical structure normally built around a driver's position. No traditional instrument cluster means fewer buttons, fewer wires, and fewer assembly steps overall. And to push the casting side of manufacturing even further, Musk has floated a future 50,000-ton Gigapress, dwarfing the 6,000 and 9,000-ton machines already running in production today. The 50,000-ton figure refers to clamping force, the pressure holding 2 mold halves locked together while molten aluminum is injected hard enough to try to force them apart. A bigger mold and more injected metal both push that required force up sharply, non-linearly. The actual casting process is a tightly timed sequence worth walking through directly. Aluminum gets melted in a primary furnace at around 850 degrees Celsius, often using natural gas, then transferred through heated pipelines into a second holding furnace, kept between roughly 750 and 850 degrees Celsius. Electrically heated this time, so molten metal stays ready the instant the next cycle needs it. A high-speed piston then drives that metal into the mold under enormous pressure, where it takes shape and begins solidifying almost immediately. The finished casting can still be near 400 degrees Celsius coming out of the mold, dropping to roughly 50 degrees Celsius in a rapid cooling stage, while the mold itself gets cooled to around 185 degrees Celsius and robotically cleaned before the next shot. Excess trimmed aluminum gets recycled straight back into the melt, and every finished part goes through X-ray inspection to catch internal defects invisible to the eye, all designed to compress a traditionally longer cycle into something closer to a few seconds, resembling a high-speed electronics line more than a conventional auto plant. Tesla is applying the same instinct to paint. CyberCab's glossy yellow isn't sprayed on afterward. It's built into the exterior panel material itself during reaction injection molding, or RIM, where 2 liquid components react and harden directly into a colored, near-finished panel. A traditional paint shop is one of a factory's most expensive, energy-intensive areas, requiring cleaning, surface treatment, primer, base coat, clear coat, and curing ovens in tightly controlled conditions where a single speck of dust can force an entire panel to be reworked. RIM, if it holds up at scale, would let Tesla skip most of that chain entirely. None of these 3 pieces work in isolation. Terafab exists because Optimus and CyberCab need chips nobody currently makes enough of. The unboxed process exists because Tesla can't hit CyberCab's price target on a traditional assembly line. The 50,000-ton press exists because casting more of the body in a single cycle is what actually makes the unboxed process fast enough to matter. Each bet only pays off if the other 2 do too. The honest way to see Tesla's current strategy is not 3 separate long-shot projects, but one interconnected wager that a fundamentally different car needs a fundamentally different chip supply, factory, and casting machine, all arriving at roughly the same time. If even one piece lags, chip volume, assembly synchronization, or press capability, the other two lose most of their advantage. Which of these three do you think is the actual long pole in the tent right now?